Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, we're all here? Thank you. Good. Okay. You come right out here. I think I put in the release, but it's just Chief Todd that's gonna speak. I don't know if I did that earlier. Hey, Britt. I asked, sometimes they want them, sometimes they don't.
What they want?
Oh,
Hello.
wine take.
All ready? Is everybody ready? Yes, okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. We're just here to give an update on the incident that occurred last night on Luther, the 5900 block of Luther. So, just before midnight last night, there was a large party that had taken place, a block party in that area, and a fight broke out. Just after midnight, our officers responded to a report for several shots fired and individuals that were shot in the area. When officers arrived on scene along with EMS and fire, it was determined that there was multiple people that were shot during the fight that happened. As of right now, we had 6 total individuals who were shot. We had, one of those individuals was deceased. The deceased victim was a 27-year-old male. We also had, of the ones that were shot, we had a 30-year-old male, a 32-year-old male, a 19-year-old female, a 27-year-old female, and an 18-year-old female. So this is pretty early on in the investigation right now, but what we do know so far is during this block party, the individuals started fighting and multiple people started shooting at each other. Officers recovered over 80 shell casings of different calibers. on the scene of this, big shootout that occurred. It's still pretty early on. There's not a lot of information that we have. We do know that one of the shooters or potential shooters was fleeing the area, and during that ran through an individual's yard and was encountered by the homeowner's dog, and that individual shot the dog and killed the dog. So the dog was just protecting the property and was killed by somebody from that scene. As of right now, of the victims, 3 of the victims do remain hospitalized. 2 of the victims were treated and released from the hospital. So it's really early on. We haven't gotten a lot of witness information, so we're trying to gather as much as we can from any cameras in the area, residents in the area. As of right now, we don't have any information that there were any calls for service before the fight had broken out at the party. So the officers weren't aware of what was going on until the fight happened and then the shooting started. So like I said, it's really early on right now. We think there was probably 100+ individuals that were, at this block party, and we are still actively investigating. If anyone has any information, we do ask that you contact our homicide unit.
Chief, this is the second shooting where multiple people have been shot in a week's time. Your thoughts on that, and is it a reactive situation, or how do you become proactive in something like this?
Well, it's just so unfortunate when a fight breaks out and you solve that fight by gunfire. That is not the way to solve any altercation, is by gunfire. There's not only the people who are at the party, but there's people in their homes sleeping. And you don't know where the bullets are gonna go from the weapons. We know, 80+ rounds were fired that we're aware of. That's a lot of gunfire. And can you imagine being in your home and you have to encounter something like that? So we encourage people, don't resolve conflicts with gunfire.
80 rounds fired. Does it surprise you, or is it lucky in this situation that more people weren't hurt?
It's absolutely lucky that more people weren't hurt. We're still trying to determine how many people were shooting, but that's 80+ rounds is a lot. So we're still working to determine how many shooters there were. We do know, with having so many different caliber casings that were on scene, we know that there was multiple firearms.
I know you have limited information so far from witnesses, but any idea what this argument stemmed from?
Not at this point, we don't.
Chief, there were 2 other shootings last night. Are they connected to this at all, or separate?
They're separate. So there was another incident that occurred on Parkgate. That was an altercation between 2 individuals, and same thing that it was, just verify real quick. With that particular incident, a 23-year-old male was shot and killed during that altercation. And there was information from nearby residents that were a little more cooperative, that they thought the shooter had gone into a house, and our SWAT unit went out and executed a search warrant and did not find anyone on scene.
And you're still looking for that person?
Yes.
But you don't believe that it was connected to
No,
this
it's
at all?
not connected to this.
Were there any patrols in that area by officers to indicate there was a block party going on? The witness that we spoke to said that this is a yearly block party. It happens, and there were hundreds of people there.
I can tell you that we didn't know that this was going on. The officers on scene that we have talked to did not know that there was this party that was going on until the calls came in. This is not a permitted party, so the residents in the neighborhood may know about this, but that doesn't mean that we know about this. And this is why we encourage people to, register their block parties, so that, we are aware that this is going on, so that we can add increased patrols or give special attention. And if something were to come up, we would know that, something's going on, that there's multiple people out there.
Have you seen anything on surveillance cameras along 55th of any cars fleeing or shots being fired from a long way down onto Luther? That's what some of the residents said, that they hear the people were firing into the crowd from a distance away.
They're still gathering the video. I haven't seen anything yet. So I know it's really active. It's really early on. I know it was a large crime scene, and it's gonna take us a little bit of time to get all the video, but the detectives are working through it, but we have not seen the video yet, and we just have everything that's really preliminary at this time.
Any suspects at all?
Nothing at this time.
Second week in a row, large gathering led to mass shooting. It's easy to put that together and correlate mass gathering. You could end up in a bad situation. What's your message to the community regarding mass gatherings or large
Well,
gatherings?
you should be able to attend a cookout. You should be able to attend a party. You should be able to attend a family function. You know, as a lot of times what we find is, you know, when things happen late at night with a lot of people, a lot of times, you know, confrontations happen. You know, if alcohol is involved, it makes it worse. But, you know, a lot of times when you see these incidents happen, it's late night, overnight. I don't want people to be afraid to go attend a cookout. But when you're taking guns to a party, that could end in disaster.
Do you know about what time this block party started?
I don't have that right now. I haven't gotten that information.
There was a CMHA officer that was injured in a crash not far from there. Was that any way connected to this? Were they responding?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't have any information on that.
Chief, we're like a week away from summer. It seems like every summer we see an increase in crime due to the weather. What would you tell the community, and what would you tell the community about getting involved when it comes to, I don't wanna say being a snitch, but getting information that can help solve these cases?
Well, gun violence is not a way to solve any issues. That's the biggest thing that we have to remember. You know, we have to value lives, our lives, and everyone else's lives a lot better. With having, you know, the summer is about enjoyment. And we shouldn't have to worry about danger, violence that goes on throughout. So, you know, the biggest thing I, you know, would say to the community is we need their help. When we have an incident like this and you go out there and you know that there's 100+ people there, and if, you know, if I were to witness something like that, I would want people to find those involved. But when you have uncooperative participants, it's a struggle for us. And when you have people out there who just don't want to talk to the police, you know, I would encourage them, if you don't want to tell us directly, call Crime Stoppers. Call somebody and get the information to us.
There were a large amount of fireworks out there, so there were no calls of fireworks being shot off or anything like that prior?
There were no calls for service. I checked this morning when I came in. There was nothing from, I think I started to look back around 6 or 7 p.m. Up until the incident occurred, and I didn't find anything.
As the victim who passed away, what is his name being released?
That'll be released by the coroner's office.
Any indication, go ahead, any indication the gunfire happened during the fireworks, kind of maybe adding to some of that confusion?
That I don't know. That I'm not sure of. I don't know what time that started.
Sorry.
Sure.
Of the 3 victims in the hospital, can you say which ones out of the ones you've identified by age?
No, I'm sorry. I just know it's really preliminary right now, so I know our detectives worked all night long, you know, and they're still out there, they're investigating, they're still trying to get witnesses, so I don't have that yet.
Just on the weapons, you said that there were multiple shell casings. People we talked to said they heard different kinds of guns being fired, AKs, Max potentially, handguns. Can you verify any of that at this point, that there were, you know, semi-automatic or automatic weapons that were used?
Well, so that, you know, unfortunately, the ballistic casing is not going to tell what kind of gun it came from. Just if it's a 9mm, it came from a 9mm. It won't be able to tell if it's semi-auto or not. It's going to be about collecting the video and anything else that's captured that helps us to determine what type of weapons were used.
I just have one on Parkgate, if that's all right.
Sure.
Some of the community members were concerned with the officers behind the home that you guys were looking at. Is that true? Were there officers covering the backside of the home? And if so, how did someone manage to get away?
Well, we don't know that there was ever anyone inside that home. So I don't know exactly who was deployed where, but when we have any SWAT situation, our SWAT commander does come out. They actually help to place the officers, so I'm sure that there was coverage. Just because the resident may not have seen an officer, they do have to, you know, they can't be in a line of, you know, potential gunfire when they're out there covering a house.
Chief, I'm sorry, one more
noticed it back to the Luther incident, no suspects and no arrests have been made.
Not at this time.
Chief, Carson Avenue, do you have any information on that, the 13-year-old that was shot?
I don't, but we can get that for you. Okay. Thank you.
Just for clarification, General Parker, that's preliminary information, so we're still waiting on an actual synopsis from our, for the age.
Yeah, I have really preliminary information on that.
If I get it before the day, I'll give you guys the age.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Did you get like the people that are still in the hospital of the people that are?
I can try, I don't know about homicide unit, would be able to get that. by the way.
Okay.
I could definitely try.